Once two strangers climbed over rock. In 1958, a 22-year-old country star arrived in London with a shocking companion that ended his career. Overnight, she was 13 years old and happened to be his cousin. But child marriages were just the beginning of country music's most twisted scandals. One star set an award on fire during live television. Another compared a president to Hitler and lost millions. From bigamy to racism, these legends hid behind their guitars while destroying lives. The industry covered it up for decades. But the truth always finds a way out. Spade Cully, at the height of his fame, Spade was known as the king of Western swing. He filled ballrooms that seated thousands and even rivaled Bob Wills in winning over post-war country fans. In Los Angeles, he ruled the nightlife. He appeared in more than 50 Western films, and his television show once captured an astonishing 75% of local viewers. Stars like Frank Sinatra and Gene Autry dropped by his set, and by 1950 Cully had become a millionaire with his own star in Hollywood. He was even planning an amusement park he called Wonderland. But everything changed on April 3, 1961. That night, Cully's paranoia and jealousy boiled over. His second wife, LMA, was 36 and often accused by him of being unfaithful. Those accusations had become an obsession that pushed him to violence. On that evening, he forced his 14-year-old daughter Melody to watch as he brutally attacked LMA. He stripped her, beat her, and tortured her in a frenzy of rage. The violence was shocking. He smashed her skull, stomped on her, broke her ribs, and left her with more than 70 separate injuries. Even after she was dead, he burned her with his cigarette to make sure she would not wake again. The house turned into a horrific crime scene. Lame's body was discovered naked and so badly beaten that even hardened officers recoiled. The autopsy described it as murder by torture. At first, Cully told police she had slipped in the shower, but in the courtroom that story crumbled. Melody's testimony stunned the nation. She told how her father had called her into the room specifically so she would witness what he did to her mother. In August 1961, Cully was sentenced to life in prison for first-degree murder by torture. Inside, he kept up a strange image of respectability. He formed a prison band and was praised as a model prisoner. After only 8 years, he was offered parole. On November 23, 1969, while out on temporary release to perform a concert for law enforcement, he received a standing ovation. Minutes later, backstage, he collapsed from a heart attack and died. His end was as shocking as his crime. He became known as the man whose story went from applause to obituary in the same evening, leaving behind a legacy not of music and fame but of horror. Johnny Paycheck. The night Johnny Paycheck pulled the trigger inside the North High Lounge is remembered in country music for all the wrong reasons. It was December 19, 1985. He wasn't stepping off a stage or leaving a concert crowd behind. He had just slipped out of a wild party with the Hells Angels in Maryland, where the FBI was watching closely for a raid. Before leaving, he ran back into the clubhouse to grab his stash of Peruvian cocaine and 2 suitcases stuffed with cash. Wired and restless, he drove until he finally stopped at a bar in Hillsboro, Ohio, just 20 miles from home. Inside the dim lounge, he found himself with locals Lloyd and Larry Wise. Paycheck's outlaw edge mixed with paranoia and the drugs coursing through his system didn't help. At one point, Lloyd Wise made what seemed like a harmless offer of turtle soup. Paycheck snapped. In a sudden flash of anger, he pulled out a .22 pistol and fired. The bullet grazed Wise's scalp, ripping his hat away but sparing his life. Later in court, Wise would say, "He blowed my hat off. Guess he took it as a personal insult." The shooting made headlines everywhere. Country stars rushed to his side. George Jones and Merle Haggard posted $50,000 for his bail. Jerry Lee Lewis even played benefit shows to help cover his legal costs. Paycheck claimed he had acted in self-defense, but his story didn't hold up. He had thrown away the gun and was charged with aggravated assault and tampering with evidence. On May 16, 1986, Judge Darrell Hoddle sentenced him to 9.5 years in prison, nearly all of it mandatory under Ohio law because he had used a firearm. Paycheck stood still as the sentence came down, but the news sent shock waves through country music. In the 2 years that followed, he received thousands of letters from fans around the world. Prison didn't strip away his spirit. He earned his high school diploma, worked as a teacher's aide, and tried to keep busy. Still, the trouble didn't end. By 1990, the IRS hit him with a $1.60 $6 million tax bill, forcing him into bankruptcy. His reputation as an outlaw only grew stronger. People still remembered his 1977 anthem, "Take This Job and Shove It," which now felt like the story of his own life. After 22 months, Governor Richard Celeste commuted his sentence, but the scars remained. The victim never forgot the night, and Paycheck never escaped the shadow of what happened in that bar. David Allen Company. If you want to see real chaos in country music, David Allen Coe's life is hard to top. His career didn't just cause trouble now and then. It felt like one scandal after another. Most singers in Nashville bent the rules a little. Coe seemed determined to tear them up completely. The trouble started when he was just 9 years old. He was sent in and out of reform schools and prisons, building a reputation for violence and taking part in rough talent contests behind bars. As he got older, rumors began to spread that he had killed another inmate and even spent time on death row. Official records show